Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. She's like Linus, you know? Wasn't he the one with the blanket? The dirt just follows her around. Or is it the opposite? The New York Slimes and the Associated Depressed. All over this story. And we have the right to ask why, which I will in a moment. But first, the story. The computer server that transmitted and received Hillary Clinton's emails on a private account she used exclusively for official business when she was Secretary of State traced back to an Internet service registered to her family's home in Chappaqua, New York, according to Internet records reviewed by the Associated Depressed. How'd they get those records? Just curious. The highly unusual practice of a cabinet-level official physically running her own email would have given Clinton, the presumptive Democratic presidential candidate, impressive control over limiting access to her message archives. It also would distinguish Clinton's secretive email practices as far more sophisticated than some politicians. Now listen to this, including Mitt Romney and Sarah Palin. Now that's really funny. Hey, Jack Gilliam and Ted Bridis over there at the AP. Have you been watching what's going on at the Environmental Protection Agency and what's going on all over this government with cabinet secretaries and administrators? They're all using their private emails. Now, why are they doing that, folks? For two reasons. So you can't file a Freedom of Information Act request and know what they're doing in clear violation of that federal statute. And so Congress, when it asks for emails and other documentation, never even thinks about asking about personal emails. This isn't tyranny? Oh, this is tyranny. This is tyranny. Obama should be impeached. This whole damn operation should be shut down. This is a mob. This is a Soviet-style mob. Shut down the government. We can't shut down the government. Okay, we'll let Obama take it over, because that's what's going on. Can't shut down the government. Just let Obama take it over. I am so sick of John Boehner and Mitch McConnell and all the lackeys who back them up and vote for them. I am sick and tired of these fools in Congress. Oh, he's the majority leader. Oh, he's the speaker. What the hell for, you lemmings? Most Internet users rely on professional outside companies such as Google or their own employers for the behind-the-scenes complexities of managing their email communications. Government employees generally use servers run by federal agencies where they work. See, nobody's done this. They can talk about Romney and Palin all they want, these pukes at the AP. In most cases, individuals who operate their own email servers are technical experts or users so concerned about issues of privacy and surveillance they take matters into their own hands. Well, I guess she is, isn't she? So first the question of culpability, criminality. Then the question of who's behind this campaign. It's not the Republicans. They would hold this back. They wouldn't launch all this right now, Mr. Producer. Moreover, they don't have access to all this Internet and email information. Somebody else does. Somebody who knew how Hillary Rotten Clinton operated and operates. They've spilled the beans. Here's Hillary Clinton at Take Back America conference in 2007. Secret emails shredded. The Constitution. Hat tip Daily Caller, cut 14. Go.
You know, our Constitution is being shredded. We know about the secret wiretaps. We know about the secret military tribunals, the secret White House email accounts. It is a stunning record of secrecy and corruption, of cronyism run amok. It is everything.
Oh, shut up, will you? Good Lord. How I don't miss that. But the radical left in this country is truly radical, and as radical as Hillary Clinton is. Her government-run health care, her representation of the Black Panthers, her involvement in the Nixon impeachment where she argued he shouldn't even have a lawyer. A radical left agenda. Apparently isn't radical left enough now in Ameritopia with Barack Obama. And so they're putting out all this stuff about her foundation and her husband's foundation, who contributed to what. Now the media's on top of that, sorta. Now her emails. Where did that come from? More on that in a moment. The question is, did Hillary commit a crime? The question is, should she not at least be investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office, if not Main Justice? I want to remind you that yesterday, General David Petraeus pleaded guilty to one federal charge of removing and retaining classified information as part of a plea deal. Removing and retaining classified information. You see, folks, classified information doesn't belong to any government official. It belongs to the government. It belongs, in essence, to the American people. You're not allowed to take it home. It's not your personal property. And so the question on the Mark Levin show is, this server that was running out of Hillary Clinton's house in Chappaqua, did it have classified information on it? What happened to that information? And is that not, in fact, a removal of classified information from a government entity, a government facility, to a private person in her home and her own server? Petraeus allegedly provided classified intelligence information to his lover, Broadwell, while he was director of the CIA, the married mother. Okay, enough of that. During his time as commander, enough of that. Goes on and on. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, he pled guilty to removing and retaining the information, not conveying it to somebody. Now that, it seems to me, is a problem for Hillary. Is it not? Am I missing something? Yes. Now, our friend Shannon Coffin over there at National Review, he looks at it from another perspective, the Federal Records Act. He says, there's a little doubt that email has been covered by the Federal Records Act since its adoption by the federal government during the Clinton administration. State Department's own manual has plainly provided since 1995 that email records must be preserved under the Federal Records Act. So he asks a second question about criminality. So was the use of private email allowed when Clinton was Secretary of State? Well, some of it. He says, I suspect every federal employee has at some time used a private email account to conduct business, but that doesn't excuse failure to comply with the Federal Records Act. Best practices have always been that an employee using a private account for government business has to either print the email, which rarely happens, or copy or forward the email to the employee's official government email account for preservation. Now, you know Hillary didn't do that because her entire purpose was to conceal her official activities. So the question on the federal criminal side with respect to this aspect of yet another Hillary Clinton scandal is whether she committed a felony when any custodian of official government records willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, falsifies, or destroys the same. Now, unfortunately, in our litigation against the Environmental Protection Agency, we felt we had more than demonstrated that this department had willfully destroyed information by refusing to search in the proper places and so forth. The court just didn't want to go there. Even though the court admonished the Environmental Protection Agency. He said, well, basically we can't read their minds. No, but their actions do infer many things that enable us to read their minds, but that's water over the dam. So, is there going to be a criminal investigation? Not prosecution, certainly not yet. Criminal investigation into whether or not Hillary Clinton violated her responsibility to retain classified information and not remove it from a government premise or government premises, which she clearly did. I mean, she set up a server. I mean, do you need more evidence than that? In her home, running out of Chappaqua. And then number two, under the National Archives regulations and the Federal Records Act, did she retain the information she was required to retain, even though she had it on a personal email account? I'm certain she didn't. So will the Obama administration unlaunch a criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton? I don't know. I suspect that would be a little too open. They prefer to work in the shadows and behind the scenes. Which brings me to my next point. I'll mention it now, and then you'll hear the backbenchers mention it tomorrow. I don't much care. Which is this. The Republicans don't have access to these emails, didn't know about the servers, despite stumbling all over themselves on Capitol Hill and the Benghazi matter. This was leaked. It was leaked by somebody or persons who knew about it, trying to do maximum damage as fast as they could against Hillary Clinton, to try and persuade a leftist like Elizabeth Warren, an absolute kook, to get into the race, to see an opportunity that Hillary is crippled or at least hurt. Now, I say if she's the nominee, they'll goose step, immediately turn on a dime and back her, but that's not my point right now. Somebody leaked this information about her emails. They leaked the information about the servers. They went to the New York Slimes. That's the paper record for the left, certainly not us. And now they've gone to the Associated Press with even more information. This is an inside job. It's an inside ideological Democrat job to take her down a notch or 10, or to take her out, to clear the path for a more aggressive leftist from their point of view. I think she's leftist enough. The intrigue of Washington, huh? It's like the old Soviet Union under Stalin. From Bloomberg, no, not the idiot former mayor, his news service. A week before becoming Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton set up a private email system that gave her a high level of control over communications, including the ability to erase messages completely, according to security experts who have examined Internet records. See the leaking? You erase it and everything's gone, Matt DeVos, a security expert who had his own private email for years. Commercial services like those from Google Inc. and Yahoo Inc. retain copies even after users erase them from their inbox. Although Clinton worked hard to secure the private system, her consultants appear to have set it up with misconfigured encryption systems, something that left it vulnerable to hacking, said Alex McGeorge, head of threat intelligence at Immunity Inc., a Miami-based digital security firm. The email flap has, all right, whatever. Very interesting. So she could destroy this stuff as she wished. So now we have a third issue with respect to criminality, ladies and gentlemen. The first is the removal of classified information from a government premises to her private server at her home in Chappaqua. That would be the Petraeus situation, not necessarily to his home, but removing classified information. Number two would be the issue of violating the federal law that involves the protection of government property, and when you write emails and so forth involving government business, that's government property. And now number three, did she destroy potential evidence of misconduct, unethical conduct, criminal behavior, any information that had been requested by any investigative body, including Congress? That may not rise to the level of a crime if they didn't subpoena her, and knowing the Republicans, they probably didn't. Oh, we can't do that. Protocol. Anyway, I'm not sure. So those are three areas of vulnerability, and I'm sure Joe Biden's loving every minute of this. I'm sure Elizabeth Warren's loving every minute of this. I'm sure every liberal miscreant who wants to run for president is loving every minute of this. I have to admit, I'm not exactly hating it, but you know the point. It's something to be said about a Democrat Party that finds Hillary Clinton too moderate when she's a radical nutjob like the rest of them. But it just shows you where the Democrat Party is. They say the Soviet Union is dead. It really isn't. Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, they have their own little Soviet activity going on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you think about voting next time around for president, you're thinking about somebody's position on foreign policy, somebody's position on the economy, somebody's position on immigration, somebody's position on national security, the currency, the debt, Social Security and Medicare going under. Are you thinking of those issues, or are you saying to yourself, I want to vote for somebody based on their genitalia? Now, that's not the first thing that comes to my mind, at least not when I'm thinking about voting for president, Mr. Producer. What is their genitalia? That's the deciding factor to me. And yet the liberals, while they're obsessed with genitalia, they're also obsessed with removing genitalia and attaching genitalia. Hillary Clinton, ladies and gentlemen, at Emily's list yesterday, cut 12, go.
Don't you want to see more women running for school boards who will fight for better schools for our kids? Don't you want to see more women running for mayor and governor who will put our families first? Don't you want to see more women running for Congress who will follow in the footsteps?
Don't you want to see more women running from Bill Clinton, Mr. Producer? Yes. We all know Hillary Rotten Clinton stands up for women. Women who are sexually abused by a pervert. That would be her husband, by the way. Don't you want to see more women running from Bill Clinton?